Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Narayanam Namaskritya
Narayanam Namaskritya
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Tato Jayam Udirayet
Tato Jayamudiraye
Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu
Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Bhagavatir Uttama Shloke
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke
Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki.
Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki.
Hare Krishna. So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 16, Shloka number 24. It's a prose. I'll just recite it. Evam kumudha nirudho yas satavalso namavatas tasya skandhebhyo nichinaha payodadi madhu grihita guna nadi ambara sayasana bhara naradaya sarva eva kamadhu duga naga kumudagrat patantas tam uttareniya vratam upajayanti. Word to word meaning. Evam tas Kumada Niruda, having grown on Kumada mountain. Yeah, that Satavalsa Nama, the tree named Satavalsa, because of having hundreds of trunks. Vataha, a banyan tree. Tasya, of it. Skandhebhya, from the thick branches. Nichinaha, flowing down. Payaha, milk. Dadi, yogurt. Madhu, honey. Grita, clarified butter. Guda, molasses. Anna, food grains. Adi, and so on. Ambara, clothing. Saya, bedding. Asana, sitting places. Abharana Adaya, carrying ornaments and so on. Sarve, everything. Eva, certainly. Kamadukkaha, fulfilling all desires. Nardaha, big rivers. Kumada Agraha, from the top of Kumada mountain. Patantai, flowing. Tam, to that. Uttarena, on the northern side. Ilavritam, the land known as Ilavrita Varsha. Upayojayanti, give happiness. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. Translation. Similarly, on Kumada mountain, there is a great banyan tree, which is called Satavalsa because it has 100 main branches. From those branches come many roots, from which many rivers are flowing. These rivers flow down from the top of the mountain to the northern side of Ilavrita Varsha for the benefit of those who live there. Because of these flowing rivers, all the people have ample supplies of milk, yogurt, honey, clarified butter, ghee, molasses, food grains, clothing, bedding, sitting places, and ornaments. All the objects they desire are sufficiently supplied for their prosperity, and therefore they are very happy. Purport. The prosperity of humanity does not depend on demoniac civilization that has no culture and no knowledge, but has only gigantic skyscrapers and huge automobiles, always rushing down the highways. The products of the nature are sufficient, when there is a profuse supply of milk, yogurt, honey, food grains, ghee, molasses, dhotis, saris, bedding, sitting places, and ornaments, the residents are actually opulent. When a profuse supply of water from the river inundates the land, all these things can be produced, and there will not be any scarcity. This all depends, however, on the performance of the sacrifice, as described in the Vedic literature. Annat bhavanti bhutani parjanyad anna sambhavah yajnat bhavati parjanyo yajnai karma samudbhavah. All the living bodies subsist on food grains, which are produced from rains. Rains are produced by performance of yajna, sacrifice, and yajna is born of prescribed duties. These are the prescriptions given in Bhagavad Gita 3.14. If people follow these principles in full Krishna consciousness, human society will be prosperous and they will be happy both in this life and the next. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yen Vandeham Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यः च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपाहतं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्येश्वरम्. Hare Krishna. Good morning, everyone. So, this is a very nice verse, the description of Ilavrita Varsha, and about the Satavalsa tree and how in Ilavrita Varsha, like different residents and different places are described, and how they live and how their desires are fulfilled. So here it's a very nice mountain, Kumuda mountain, very big, and there's great banyan tree, Satavalsa. So from this comes many things you get here. You get milk, yogurt, honey, food grains. So nobody has to go for a job here like that. And here Prabhupada mentions one very important point. The prosperity of humanity does not depend on a demoniac civilization that has no culture and no knowledge, but has only gigantic skyscrapers and huge automobiles always rushing down the highways. So generally, like our civilization now, what is there, it's not even demoniac, it's more animalistic, because so demons are like demons, if you see, they understand the working of this universe. Like by performing sacrifice, you can become happy, and demons also perform a lot of sacrifice, and they also follow Vedic scriptures. Like example, we see many demons like Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, and Ravana, who and all did lot of austerities, sacrifices. Even Bali Maharaj, to conquer the heavenly planets, he did yajnas. Then they were able to conquer or become more powerful and conquer the heavenly planets and enjoy in this world. So here, if somebody wants to enjoy in this world, we need to understand that sacrifices are compulsory, and by performing sacrifices, and they can happily stay in this world. So how these sacrifices are born is the sacrifices are born by performance of duties. So Varna Ashrama duties. So when one follows Varna and Ashrama duties, so it's recommended they do some samskaras, and in particularly when you see different samskaras, so what they do is first they perform yajna, and then they offer the prasad to the other demigods, and then they perform the samskara. Like example, if you see Anteshti samskara, when you do, first you invoke Vishnu, then the prasad, you offer the prasad to Vishnu, then you offer that same prasad to your ancestors in your Anteshti samskara and Shraddha ceremonies and all. So by this, like, so the ancestors will be pleased, and like Lord will be pleased, and they'll be removed from their sinful reactions, so that they can take birth again, or they can at least get a human body if they have got any ghostly bodies. So first, let us understand. Uh, so how? So generally, what is demoniac enjoyment? So demons also enjoy very very blissfully, very happily. Like when we see in lower planetary systems, Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala. So there are a lot many demons, and they enjoy very very nicely. It's also mentioned in the future chapters. We'll understand that even in heavenly planets, sometimes demigods are disturbed by demons. But in lower planetary systems, like even there is not even such disturbances for asuras. There is uninterrupted sense enjoyment, and they live very comfortably, and they don't even fear death, because one of the reasons they don't fear death is because there is no sunlight there, and there is no concept of day and night, and it's effulgent because of the gems and the ornaments, and which produces light all over the planetary system. So because of which they don't have this concept of day and night, and they also are so comfortable in sense enjoyment. And it's also mentioned the demoniac sense enjoyment is more superior to the even celestial sense enjoyment, and it's very very opulent. So like I've heard that even demons don't like to become humans in this world because human beings are like too much struggling. Uh, they uh, they can't move from one place to another. A lot of bodily diseases. They want some vehicle to move, but demons can fly in the air. They're more intelligent, more strong, and they enjoy very much. So, and one more thing is that like demons also follow their own dharma, and that's how they become very powerful. Like example, if you see in the state of Bali Maharaj, so he was so pure and he was following his dharma. So and he also had sense control, because of which there was no way to defeat him. And the Lord has to come and ask for charity from Bali Maharaj. That's how he was defeated. And other demons, only when they commit sinful activities out of their boundary of their dharma, then they fall into the troubles, and then they are defeated. So following dharma is very very important, and why it's very important? By following dharma, one becomes fearless. And also we have this shloka in Bhagavad Gita 7.28. Esham tu antagatam papam jananam punya karmanam te dvanda moha nirmukta bhajate mam dridavrata. So until one does not follow dharma, one cannot one cannot practice devotional service strongly with full determination, nor they can enjoy in this material world happily, like the demons do. Even if you want to enjoy in this material world properly, then you have to perform dharma, you have to perform sacrifices, you have to perform austerities, and thus you'll be allowed to enjoy in this world comfortably, peacefully, or else you cannot enjoy in this material world. And here, what generally we are doing is like not even following dharma, not even demoniac, it's more like animalistic. As it's told, ahara nidra bhayamaitunam cha samanyamaitat pashubi naranam dharmo hitesham adhiko vishesho dharmena hina pashubi samana. Because one thing why they're more animalistic is because they don't understand the logic of the universe. Like by performing sacrifice, they'll be satisfied, and they don't even know what happiness is to a great extent. They think just going in automobiles, building size skyscrapers, and by all these things they'll be happy. But generally, we have seen they are not so happy, and they don't understand the basic problems like hankering, lamentation. These are all problems, and going from one place to another, it's a problem, and struggling so hard day and night. Working tirelessly, these things are problem. They don't even consider this as a problem. They think something as achievement, I'm doing something great. So because of too much of ignorance, they're almost like animals they're living now. And and how can a person stay happy? So in this material world, if somebody wants to stay happy, what are the things they require? So your Prabhupada neatly mentions that milk, yogurt, honey, food grains, ghee, molasses, dhotis, saris, bedding, sitting places, and ornaments. So when you have all these things, then you can stay happily in this material world. If you don't have these things, then you cannot stay happily. Like let's say a person enters, a guest comes to your home. So first thing what you give water, you give him some sitting places. Then after that, if he's tired, then you give him some prasad. You offer him some prasad. Then you serve him. And after if he's tired, you'll give him some beddings to sleep. So by this, like, who will be not be satisfied? Like, if you ask something else he want, he'll be like full satisfied. He has a place to sleep, rest neatly, and you'll give him some clothes to wear, some new clothes. So by doing all, and you give proper food grains, milk, yogurt. So then a person is more happy and more peaceful in like that. So if you don't have these things, and then you cannot be happy. Like now, what they do, like you, first of all, there is no thing called guest now. So we have made guest house, and there nothing will be there, and nobody will be there to. All these things, maybe beddings will be there, and nothing else. It's fully empty room. So by these things, we cannot be happy. And even like when we serve the Lord, we offer all these things like when we are performing Abhishekam to the Lord, we offer milk, yogurt, we offer like clothes, we offer bedding, we say idam asanam, so we offer sitting places, and thus we serve the Lord also. And and also one thing is very important is following dharma. So without following dharma, we are almost like animals. And uh, if we don't follow dharma, we cannot be fearless. And uh, and we cannot even stay comfortable in this material world if we don't follow dharma. And there are so many rules and regulations for dharma, and very very strict those are. Example, and when you and in Mahabharata, like there are so many kings who come, and when somebody else glorify those personalities, they glorify such persons as like how truthful they are, how honest they are. Like these are the personalities who doesn't give up dharma even if they're supposed to give up their whole kingdom, and if they're supposed to lose even their life, still they don't give up dharma. That's how great personalities, and that's how the glorification goes. And for women, generally they glorify how pure they are, how chaste they are, and how they don't even think of any other person other than their husband even in their mind, or they don't relish other persons. Uh, so that's how the Stri Dharma goes, the chastity, and how strong they were in following Dharma. And so if you don't follow Dharma, you'll be put into a lot of ignorance and passion, and you cannot perform devotional service or any other activities peacefully. And you cannot stay happy if you don't follow Dharma. Mind will not be peaceful. Um, all, so that's why you have to follow Dharma to live comfortably. And also, okay. So demons also get happiness only by performing Vedic sacrifices. They perform a lot of Vedic sacrifices, then they get their comfortable life, which is sometimes more greater than heavenly planets also. Um, and what is the basics of dharma? If somebody has to follow dharma, what he has to do? So if somebody has to follow dharma, then first basic requirement is sense control. So without sense control, one cannot follow dharma, and without following dharma, one cannot properly uh, uh, one cannot follow devotional service. One cannot practice devotional service without following dharma. And we should be very careful in our dealings with others, because generally when other people see us, so they see how dharmic we are, how truthful we are, how honest we are, because they don't understand the spirituality, but they and also it's like it's not spirituality which is not based on dharma. So when we see through the Varnashrama system, uh, so as the Varna increases, like the principles they have to follow are also very high. Like example for Shudras, so first of all to come to Shudra level to enter into Varnashrama system, they should have sense control. They should have faith in the scriptures, and they should be able to follow certain kind level of dharma. So then again, when you go to Vaishyas, then the dharma increases, like the standard of dharma increases. When you go to Kshatriyas, again even more increases. And when you go to Brahmanas, like they're expected to follow very highly dharma. They are supposed to be always truthful, tolerant, honest. Um, so previously, if a Brahmana used to commit some abominable activity, what they used to do is the punishment was to send out of the kingdom. They were not allowed to stay in the kingdom because Kshatriyas are a little bit lower than Brahmanas. They cannot punish the Brahmanas. So it's expected that they follow the things in a proper order, and they follow the things properly. And also like when you then after Brahmanas, then you come to the platform of jnana, then jnanis, then yogis, then devotees. So we are expected to follow the highest dharma, and the rules are quite strict and very very strict. And if you don't follow dharma, like generally nobody respects us. Even people in general, they don't respect us if you don't follow dharma. Even for devotional activities and devotional dealings, it's expected that we follow dharma neatly and peacefully, so that so then we can preach very nicely. If we don't follow dharma, people will not respect us. And so the levels of progress for a devotee is like first he has to become dharmic. First he has to give up adharmic nature. First he has to give up all adharmic activities and he has to focus on dharma. So then after focusing on dharma, then he has to try to stay continuously. He has to become nirantara dharmic person. So he has to stay continuously as a dharmic person. Then after he stays continuously as a dharmic person, then he has to increase his sattvagun. So he has to try to stay in the mood of goodness and engage in the mood of goodness activities. So then after that, then he has to after staying in the mood of goodness, then he has to try to purify his internal senses, and he has to focus intensely on practicing devotional service. So after that, then he can become a Siddha Vaishnava or a pure devotee. So these are the levels from how one can reach from the platform of dharma to a pure devotee. And again, like we also have options like, so if you want to become instantly pure devotees, that's also possible. But the expectations are quite high. Like we have to chant 24 hours without engaging in any other activities, and thus we can easily cross beyond three modes of material nature, and um, we can become pure devotees in a very short time. Uh, but generally it's very difficult to chant 24 hours. So then next option we have is engaging in the Panchanga Bhakti, uh, Sadhu Sangha, Nama Kirtan, and Vai- huh? Bhagavad Shravan and deity worship and Srimurti Seva. So by engaging in five Panchanga Bhaktis, then you can in a very short period of time, we can become more dharmic and more purified. And if still that is not possible, then we are expected, okay, then next level is like, Rupa Goswami is very merciful. He gave 64 limbs of devotional service, where we can engage in 64 limbs of devotional service. And thus by engaging in 64 limbs of devotional service, then still we can make progress. And if you're not able to follow 64 limbs of devotional service, then next below option is following a dharmic life, if at all we want to make progress. So if we don't follow dharmic life, there is no hope for progress. And like generally when you go into Varnashrama system, which is a very slow process, so it takes lifetimes after lifetimes, like to purify oneself. And when one follows Varnashrama dharma for many lives, then jnana will arise. Then when he engages in jnana activities for many lives, it's also mentioned in third canto, 27th chapter, Like after a yogi meditates in his mature yoga practices for many births, then he'll endeavor in a secluded place uh, to see the Lord. He will to just to endeavor to sit in one place, to endeavor in a secluded place in a forest, and to get the desire to see the Lord. You know, they have to the yoga practice. They have to practice for many births, many lifetimes. They have to practice, and after that, then when engages in mature yoga practice, then that too for many years, like in. Third canto 27 chapter 27th words, it's clearly mentioned that when a living entity engages in devotional service or self-realization for many years and many births, then he'll become reluctant to enjoy in any one of the material worlds, any one of the material planets, even up to Brahmaloka. So so this reluctance to enjoy is very important, because we'll be tested in many ways. If at all we want to see the Lord, and we want to become pure devotees, and we want to go back to Godhead, like the reluctance, we should generally have that reluctance to enjoy in this material world, because like there are a lot many tests which we'll have to face. So we are not up to that level where we are given those tests. So, but we are expected eventually to cross over all those tests. So some of the tests are like, you know, attracted to opposite gender, then the control of the anger, how much you are able to control the anger, and when you are put into troubled times, how you react, how you act in the troubled times. And then also like you'll be given opulence, and then how do you act in opulence, you'll be tested in such ways. And and uh, it, you also be tested in your pride, how much pride you have, how much arrogance you have. So sometimes when we are very comfortably situated, then it's very natural to become proud. Even in devotional service, like when everything is going on well, and we make little bit progress, we are little bit comfortable, we have little bit power, and we become more proud, and which is very dangerous for our devotional service. So there was a story, I think. Um, yeah, Sanat Kumar, he says, so in Mahabharat, Sanat Kumar, like, by the request of Vidura, Sanat Kumar comes and advises Dhritarashtra. There's a entire Parva, Sanat Sujata Parva. So there, Sanat Kumar mentions this very important point. This world is for people who are proud, and the spiritual world is for people who are not, who are humble. The path of devotional service is made quite easy because of humility. If you are not humble, then this path is very tough. Only because this concept of humility and humbleness is there, so we can practice devotional service very peacefully. If we take out this humbleness, then this path of devotional service will be very tough. Even for great yogis are bewildered by the path of devotional service. And why, even though we know this, okay, many devotees or yogis know the path of devotional service, and you can get the results very instantly, very fast, and very easy. But why are they not able to execute this process of devotional service? Only because of proud. It's very difficult to give up proud. It's very easy to give up external things, but to give internal uh, sense enjoyments and to give up proud, it's very difficult. And also there are many allurements, like there are many stories how different devotees were tested. um, like example, Maharaj Sibi Maharaj was tested by how much tolerant he was. He was a king, so then Indra and Agni came to test him about his character, how strongly he follows dharma. So Agni Dev became a pigeon, and Indra Dev became a hawk, and the pigeon came under the shelter of Sibi Maharaj, and the hawk was attacking the pigeon. Then Sibi Maharaj told, I'll not give the pigeon back, because it has taken my shelter. Like it's my duty as a kshatriya to protect the pigeon. Then Hawk said, like, he gives a lot of philosophical conclusions that, like, every living entity, jiva jiva se jivanam, like pigeon is a food for hawk. How can you protect it? Like, you're taking away my food, like that. But then again, Sibi Maharaj was more dharmic. Then he told, you tell me what you want, I am ready to give any amount of flesh, meat, or any other food items you want for the sake of protecting the pigeon. But then Hawk told, no, I want the pigeon itself, or else like I want a same amount of flesh from your body as the weight of the pigeon. And then Sivi Maharaji was removing the flesh from his body, and but the pigeon was quite heavy, and he himself sat finally. Even though he was bleeding, like he never gave up dharma. So it's not that it's not only tested like how you follow dharma. It also test. They also test based on what is your attitude when you are following dharma, whether he was arrogant, whether he was crying, whether he was in pain. Because like when he was cutting the flesh from his body, there was not even a slight impression of sadness or depression that okay, I'm cutting my body. Like he was not depressed to follow dharma. He was not depressed to give up flesh. So even all these subtle things also matter. So then after then seeing his determination, then like Indradev gave benedictions, and they declared how dharmic he was. And there are many stories are there which describes how a person has to follow dharma. And so if somebody wants to enjoy this, so let's talk about sense control. So sense control is the basics or the basic principle. If somebody wants to execute any of the yoga process, or even if they want to stay happy in this material world, or even if they want to follow dharma, sense control is very important. And without sense control, uh, nobody has achieved any success. Like demons fall down only because of lack of sense control, and demigods stay there only because of sense control. Because like demons also enjoy, demigods are also enjoying, but what's the difference? So one of the differences is demigods are in the mood of sattvagun, and they are devotees of the Lord, and they have very high levels of sense control. And but whereas demons, they are in the mood of ignorance, they are against the Lord, and they lack sense control very much, and they are destroyed by their too much of sense gratification. It is also told. Yeah, like Sanat Kumar only he explains in Sanat Parva to Dhritarashtra that even demigods fall down from their positions if they don't control their senses. If they engage in too much sense gratification, even the demigods fall from their position. So sense gratification is so dangerous, and that is what it all rolls about for the basic principles. And if somebody wants to become detached from this material world, it's one of the principles is one has to always constantly meditate on the faults of the enjoyments in this material world. So if unless one is not convinced of the faults of enjoying in this material world, he cannot practice any yoga system properly, nor he can become a perfect renunciant. Because he should be convinced of the faults. What are the faults of this material world? One is Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi. These are the faults. Things are temporary, and there are unlimited faults in this material world. So some of the faults are like, so as soon as a person gets a desire of their for their sense enjoyment, immediately the lust develops, immediately attachment develops, and immediately ignorance increases, and again you'll be dragged down into this material world. So this is one of the fault in this material world. And second thing, like if you want anything, then you have to slog, you have to follow the strict rules, and you have to perform austerities to get some certain things. This is another fault. And third thing, like it's quite temporary. Whether you go to heavenly planets, whether you go to Atala, Vitala, Sutala, any of the 14 planetary systems, everything is temporary. This point is very important to meditate on, like how everything is temporary, because like you'll so you just think like you'll be very happy, comfortable, and suddenly somebody pushes you out of your home, pushes you out. So that's how this material world will be there. Or like you just think like you're eating some very tasty food, or some sweet which you're eating, and suddenly somebody plucks out how you feel, and again somebody gives, again you develop attachment, again somebody plucks it out. So it's quite frustrating. So this material world is designed for frustration. At least one day they'll turn towards the Lord, and nobody can enjoy unlimited happiness here. And the senses and hankering is a problem. So nobody thinks like hankering is a problem. Like hankering, lamentation. So hankering, like it just tortures the soul. It just troubles you a lot. When somebody is hankering for some sense object, he cannot even sleep peacefully. He'll always keep thinking of the sense object. And again, when he's hankering and when he's contemplating more, then again the attachment grows. And again he'll be bewildered. Again intelligence will be bewildered. He'll not be able to distinguish what is right and what is wrong. He'll become completely mad. Everybody else in this world will be able to see, okay, this person is mad for some small things, but he himself will not be able to realize because of deep ignorance that, okay, what I'm doing is wrong. Intelligence is lost, then you can not follow dharma. Then again you'll fall back to this material world, into animalistic life. So this is another fault. Hankering is a problem. Then lamentation. As soon as you lose something which is very dear, again it's a problem. Then you lose your loved ones. Everyone has to face all these things. Like they have to lose their loved ones once or one time or the other, and that is another great problem. Some people go into depression because of that. They cannot think properly. And one more problem is you'll be forced in this material world to do what you don't like. There are so many people, like generally corporate appears like prison houses, but still they go, even though they don't like so many things, but still they are forced to do what they don't like, just because they have to stay here, they have to maintain the status quo. They want the objects of their desire, so they'll be forced to do what they don't like. And yes, sense trouble is generally there, and bodily problems are there, mental problems are there. So you don't want diseases, but still you get diseases. You don't want to, even though you are diseased, you want to stay in this material world, still you're not allowed. So you'll be kicked out. And generally your desires are, and desires keep increasing. Material desires are like like blazing fire, which keeps on increasing like ghee poured on fire. It keeps on blazing and it keeps on burning us. uh, so we don't consider this burning as, I have so many material desires, it's a problem. Nobody considers this. But it's generally a problem, because these are only for the sense. What's all enjoyment about? It's about senses coming in contact with the sense objects, and it's creating a lot of mess, lot of problems. And envy develops, greed develops. There's one nice quote in Bhagavad Gita, which was mentioned in even by Baldev Vidyabhushan in the commentary of Bhagavad Gita. In, I think it's in Yei Samparcha Jaboga Dukka Yone Evate Adi Antavante Kaunteya Nateshuramate Buddha. In that it's mentioned that uh, the all the land, women, gold, opulence in this material world, seas, jewels, horses, domestic animals, kingdom, opulence, everything in this planet Earth cannot satisfy even one person. So understanding this, one should move about in a peaceful mind. Peaceful mind. So we should understand that greed is a problem. Like nobody understands greed is a problem. Only when you are learned, when you have knowledge, then you understand greed is a problem. Like let's say uh, you want to satisfy some sense enjoyment, you want to satisfy some material desire, and you are allowed to satisfy. But then, by after satisfying the material desire, you get more of the desire, and you'll hanker after it more, and you give more, and again you anchor it after even more. Again you give more, and again you anchor it after even more. It keeps goes on, and makes you mad. Uh, so generally, a person who's intelligent and who's learned, he'll not want all this happiness. So we need to understand that sense enjoyment, sense gratification will not satisfy you. Okay, no matter what, how much ever you satisfy your tongue, how much ever you satisfy your all your sense organs, like never it'll gonna satisfy you, and always it's gonna hanker for more, and it'll desire more like a blazing fire. So understanding this, we have to give up sense objects and sense desires, and we have to renounce this material world. Because like if we don't renounce this, then again we are in a loop where we are again falling back to the animalistic civilization. So understanding this, the faults of living in this material world is very very important. Like in Bhajagovindam, there are so many verses which Shankaracharya says. Uh, Like one of the my favorite verses is Ma Kuru Dhanajana Yavana Garvam Harati Nimeshat Kalat Sarvam Maya Mayam Akilam Hitva Brahma Padam Tvam Pravisha Viditva. So, friends, family, youth, uh, strength, everything will be taken off within a fraction of time. So don't hanker for all these things and hanker for only for devotional service. So anchor for the devotional service which is eternal, which time cannot destroy it. Hanker for something which is eternal, where you can be happy all the time with the Lord, serving the Lord, which highest pleasure. So in this material world, there are two contradictions. One is like a living entity in the womb. He faints because of intense pain, and in the spiritual world, a living entity faints because of intense happiness. So we can choose how we want to faint. Whether we want to faint through intense pain or we want to faint through intense happiness. So generally we become so here all these things like, so when we are in youth we can think we can do everything by ourselves, but when old age comes we'll realize, okay, we can't move, we can't walk properly, so many bodily problems, and with things we've become proud of the people who glorify us, uh, who are our subordinates, who serve us like that. But then everything can just be vanquished. Even the wealth can be vanquished. And it's one more verse. It mentions that the wealth in this material world, the rich man even fears his own son. So when fear is there, like how can somebody be happy? He'll always be fearful. If a person is fearing his own son, what kind of happiness he is having by wealth? So these are the faults of this material world, and there are unlimited faults. Like not only this, we can keep on discussing the faults of this material world. How proud this, and one more important thing in our devotional service is not to become proud. Anybody who has become proud has been destroyed and is in this material world. Uh, Proud is the topmost thing which destroys all the uh, like it destroys dharma, it destroys yoga, it destroys bhakti. So one should stay away from proud. This is very important. Like many times it's mentioned uh, in Mahabharata. Many places it's mentioned why one should not become proud, and how pride has destroyed many kings, and pride has destroyed yogis. So it's very important that we don't become proud, and by staying humble, only by staying humble, we can chant the holy names of the Lord constantly. And our basis of devotional service is sense control, following dharma, and humility, humbleness. If these three are not there, then we cannot have a good foundation for devotional service. Or eventually, like at least at the start, if we don't have that, like eventually we are expected to follow this, have these three things, so that we can practice devotional service consistently and uninterruptedly, and progress nicely. If we lack any of this, then eventually other things also will get destroyed. Pride destroys, sense control destroys, and also like if you don't follow dharma, basically sinful. If you do sinful life activities, then ignorance increases. Then all other, if we are influenced by passion and ignorance, we cannot practice devotional service nicely. We cannot practice consistently, and with Dhrida Vrata we cannot practice. So if you want to practice in Dhrida Vrata, we have to follow dharma, we have to have sense control, and we have to stay humble. We should be free from pride. Thus we can progress in path of devotional service. Uh, Thank you so much. I'll pause here. Any other questions or comments? You can take. Hare Krishna.
This point is very nice. That by following the dharma helps us to become fearless. So this point is very.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you for the lovely lecture. You said that pride or being too proud makes you fall down.
Yes.
But when we do devotional service,
Mm.
we should also develop a pride for being a devotee and
Yes. So there is this is like still it's on a mental level. Like there are this pride helps also and distracts also. Like example, being proud, I'm a devotee. So how it helps is like, okay, I'm a devotee. I'm not supposed to do these things. I'm not supposed to eat in restaurants. I don't eat in restaurants, or I follow things properly. I follow my spiritual master. I'm a devotee. I chant my rounds. Like I'm expected to chant nicely. Expected to behave nicely. Example, when you're in front of others, public, so we behave nicely because I'm a devotee and I'm proud of that. That is fine. So in this case, it helps us. But also there's also a downside of the devotee. Like downside when we become proud. When we say I'm a senior devotee, or like I'm a devotee. How could somebody insult me? How could somebody find faults in me? Um, or like. How come somebody is not respecting me? I'm a devotee. By pride we expect respect and all. So by these things, like we fall down. So when we expect respect, when we expect honor from others, all these things, no, it'll make us fall down also. So you should be careful, like how to apply the things like that. So it's the same case even with brahmanas. Like when they say like, okay, from a brahmana, I'm from a very nice family. I should not be doing this sinful activity. I should not act like this. Uh, so when you think in that way, it helps to a certain extent. But when it becomes too much, then like it becomes like, okay, I'm son of this person. I'm such a royal personality. How could somebody talk like this in front of me? How could somebody insult me? How could somebody find fault with me? How could somebody speak like this to me? It's the same thing. Like it has two sides. So in that way, it makes us fall. So we should be a little bit careful with dealing with pride. Yes, ma'am.
Prabhuji, I have one question.
Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, when I entered, you were telling the pastime of Maharaj, where you mentioned that while doing dharma, what should be our feeling?
Yes.
So, even when we are in pain or
Mm.
any kind of pain,
Mm.
sensitive kind of things, because we are in pain.
Mm.
So, can you please explain, during those kind of painful situations, while following dharma, for example, I have to chant, but I am having a serious stomach pain.
Mm.
So, in that way, what should be my feeling during that time? What should be my thoughts during that time?
Yeah. So Mataji, so when following dharma, we should do it in a pleasing way. So the basic of dharma is to please the Lord, and we should do so. Whatever difficulties we get, we have to take it for the pleasure of the Lord, for the pleasure of the following dharma. Like generally, dharma and sacrifice, it means we want to please the Lord. So that is what is the essence of the Vedic scriptures, essence of following dharma, or essence of sacrificing. So let's say when I'm chanting and I'm having stomach pain and I'm not able to chant nicely, so we can tell to the Lord, "Oh Lord, I want to chant your names nicely. I want to meditate on you, but because of this stomach pain, I'm not able to do. Please forgive me. But still, I want to chant your names. How much are possible we could do, then Lord will definitely be pleased with that. So it's not the act of chanting, but it's like how we chant, with what mood we chant. Mood and internals are very important than externals. So this is all.
Internal should be we are doing it
Yes.
for pleasing the Lord.
Yes.
Whatever situation it is, please Krishna take care of it. I
Yes.
want to please you and
Yes.
give my service.
Yes, Mataji. Yes. Any other questions? Reflection.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. This point is also very nice. First, we have to start convincing the miseries of this material world. So later we get to know knowledge like how to get rid from this. This point is very nice, Prabhuji. Thanks for the class.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you very much for such a wonderful class. So this point you highlighted very nicely, in a sense that everything in this material world is a trouble. So we should not aspire for anything. You gave various examples of greed, lamentation, hankering. All these are problems. So because of these problems, one has to faint, either by intense pain or intense happiness in the spiritual world. So you have to choose where to be faint, in happiness or distress. And this point also mentioned very nicely, that sense control, being humble and following dharma is the basis of devotional service. Thank you, bro. Hare Krishna.
Like this point very much, that following the path of dharma leads to fearlessness. And because generally persons are in this world, they are very much fearful of many things, or fearful of death, fearful of many things. So yeah, if they are dharmic people, so they will not fear anything, whatever situation comes in their life, they will never be fearful of any situation. Thank you, bro.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you for the class, Prabhuji. You started off with the thing about the demons, and I like that comparison that even demons follow some dharma, but we humans, we have no dharma. So main thing is that the process of bhakti gets us on the path of dharma, and finally we know what to do, because right now we don't know what we are doing. We have nothing, no direction. We are like a directionless people, but thankfully to the bhakti we get some direction and we start following the dharma, and that dharma ultimately builds up all those things which lead us to the god. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for the wonderful class. So then, if you want to be happy in this material world, so we should have sense control. And if you want to practice nicely bhakti, and if you want to follow the dharma, if we should have sense control. And this material world is for those who are proud, and spiritual world is for those who are humble. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for the nice class. So as you mentioned that there are ladders of different people who follow dharma, and we are expected, so we are following this path of bhakti yoga, so naturally we are expected to be dharmic, and in many phases it will be tested multiple times, but we have to always try to practice the dharmic regulation. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you for the nice class, Prabhuji. You have told so many nice points. So you told that society is now animalistic, and by performing sacrifices they can stay happily in this world. And a nice point that how much we try to satisfy our sense objects, we cannot satisfy it. And we should always hanker for devotional services, and not become proud in devotional services as well. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Guru, thank you very much for this nice class. So you explained that how a sadhaka must be sense controlled, and to achieve sense control you gave various nice points that one must think that even if all the opulence, all kinds of sense gratification is given to one person, still he won't be satisfied. It will be like putting ghee onto the fire. So fire will always increase and it will hanker for more. So one must remember all these things, and one must remember that whatever sense gratification it is, it will always end in misery. So keeping all these things in his mind, the sadhaka must keep advancing and keep focused towards his goal rather than being entangled in any kind of sense gratification. Hare Krishna.
Jai.